our chief correspondent Lise Doucette there in Tel Aviv. Well, let's talk now a little bit more about the reaction amongst Palestinians. Let's cross live and speak to Husam Zomlot, head of the Palestinian mission to the UK. Husam, good to talk to you. Thanks for joining us this evening. If I may ask you, first of all, for your reaction.
Well, it's a momentous time, as President Trump said. It is a welcome development. It's a sigh of relief after 2 years of utter destruction, mass murder, mass starvation, a genocide being committed against our people. We want to see that stopping. We want to see an end to Israel's genocidal war, not just phase one. We want to make sure that all these phases are implemented, particularly given previous record of Prime Minister Netanyahu of reneging on all previous ceasefire agreements, and even with Lebanon. He's been a ceasefire agreement with Lebanon for all this long, and every day Netanyahu and Israel violate that ceasefire agreement. So while this is a hopeful moment for all of us, it should also be a call to action to make sure that we don't rest, we don't relax, we continue the work, we continue the pressure on Netanyahu, remembering that the pressure has been brought by the people of the world, including the people of the UK, this pressure on all these governments, by the ability of the Palestinian people to defeat the idea of the mass transfer from their home and to stay on their land despite all that happened, and also the active role of the Arab world and the governments of the Arab and the Muslim world. So we need to make sure that not only we want to end the genocide, Miriam, but we want to make sure this does not repeat. This does not happen again. Our children are not to be slaughtered again in front of the world, 20,000 of them. And the only way to do so, to make sure this will not happen again, is to make sure that we look at and deal with the root cause of all this. The 7th of October and what the atrocious situation since is the consequences and the symptoms of the root cause, and the root cause has got to be our focus, which is the occupation and the colonization. And the 20 points of President Trump, it was clearly talking about recognizing the Palestinian legitimate right to self-determination and statehood. Should that be the final destination, and it must be the goal and the destination, then every step on the way must be going in that direction, including full Israeli withdrawal from the Gaza Strip, the military withdrawal, access to humanitarian aid immediately, allowing the legitimate government of Palestine to be in charge and in control and provide and protect its people, one security forces, and making sure that our prisoners, our hostages, our detainees in Israeli jail are also released. Many of them are without charge or trial. Many of them are political leaders like Marwan al-Barghouthi and Ahmed Saadat. And from there, we move in a direction of helping and assisting the Palestinian national institutions, the PLO and the PA, to be able to engage in this unprecedented rebuilding and reconstruction efforts, and to make sure that we partner with the rest of the world, including the US, to make sure that finally an independent sovereign state of Palestine is recognized, particularly following the wave of recognitions, including the UK government only a couple of weeks ago, of the state of Palestine. And that's why, Miriam, you may want to change my title to the ambassador of the state of Palestine.
Husam, thanks for that. Let me just focus in on a little bit of what you said, because you talked there about a Palestinian state in the future. Of course, part of this plan, part of this second phase, is for Hamas to disarm. If and when that happens, what kind of a Palestinian state do you think is going to be viable, given what Netanyahu has said in the past about a two-state solution not being on the table for him?
You know, always we are asked this question: how can a Palestinian state be viable? How can a Palestinian state be viable? I don't think viability is the issue. Palestine has existed long before Israel and this whole situation. We are viable. The question is, and then, you know, when they talk about Palestine being viable, they talk about Israel being secure. I think what needs to happen here is the other way around exactly. We need a secure Palestine, free of occupation and colonization and apartheid, free of attacks, settler terrorist attacks in the West Bank, on a daily basis, as your reports have been documenting. And what we need for Israel is to be viable, because only if you quit your occupation, the acquisition of land by force, the subjugation and oppression for another nation for all this long, then you are not viable. So Palestine needs to be secure because it is viable, and Israel needs to be viable by ending all the illegalities that it has been committed against the Palestinian people. And this is the path that we are embarked upon. And now, with this unprecedented momentum and wave of support by the people of the world, including the people of the UK, the great people of Britain, I think we have all what it takes to make sure that Netanyahu complies, Israel complies, and we have a short timetable for a process that end up actually uprooting the root cause of all this, which is the occupation and the oppression of a people, and the ability of finally set on a path that would fulfill the very legitimate rights of the Palestinian people. I agree with President Trump that this is a moment when we want to look at the achieving peace in the Middle East, and the whole world knows how do we achieve peace in the Middle East. We do not extend occupation. We empower the Palestinian people through their legitimate institutions. We help the international community, give the support and help, but does not substitute the Palestinian national institutions. And we make sure from there we build the nucleus of the state we are talking about and establish it on the ground.
Husam Zomlot, good to talk to you. Thanks for taking the time to speak to us this evening. Let's take a short break now. Around the world and across the UK, this is The World Today on BBC News.